Close your eyes for a second. Imagine you are 29 years old. You are working in a comfortable, air-conditioned office in New York City. You have a steady paycheck, a clear career ladder, a high-status title, and the respect of your peers. Everything is objectively fine, but inside, you feel a restless energy, a gnawing suspicion that you were meant to build something else. You have an idea that sounds crazy to everyone else, and you are terrified to share it. This was Jeff Bezos in 1994. He was a senior vice president at a hedge fund. He had reached the top of the financial world, and he was about to quit it all to drive across the country, move to a garage in Seattle, and sell books on a brand new, unproven thing called the internet. How do you make that leap? How do you ignore the people who tell you you are throwing your life away? Today, we are not talking about e-commerce. We are talking about the regret minimization framework, a mental model that is arguably more valuable than any business strategy. By the end of this video, you will have a tool to look at your own life, strip away the fear, and decide what truly matters. Why is it so hard to make a big decision? It is because your brain is biologically wired to keep you safe. Your brain hates uncertainty. Evolutionarily, uncertainty in the wild meant potential death. So when you think about starting a business, asking for a promotion, or moving to a new city, your brain triggers the fight or flight response. It makes you focus on the short-term pain. It whispers, what if I lose money? What if I look stupid? What if I fail and have to go back to my old life? This is called loss aversion, the psychological tendency to value avoiding a loss twice as much as acquiring a gain. Bezos realized that this short-term fear is a massive, life-altering trap. He created the regret minimization framework to bypass his own biology. He projected himself forward to age 80. Why 80? Because at 80, your ego, your immediate fears, and the societal pressures of your 20s or 30s have faded. You aren't worried about whether your friends think you are smart. You aren't worried about the temporary sting of a failed project. You are looking at the raw ledger of your life. He realized that at 80, he would not regret the failure of an internet bookstore. If he tried and failed, he would have a great story to tell. He would know he gave it his best shot, but he knew with absolute clarity that he would regret the haunting what if. That what if is the silent killer of human potential. It is the phantom that sits in the back of your mind for decades, mocking you for the things you didn't do. To apply this, you must distinguish between two types of decisions, one-way doors and two-way doors. A two-way door is a decision that is reversible. If you try a new hobby, start a blog, or take a temporary side job, you can almost always go back. You aren't burning your life down, you are just iterating. Most of our fears are based on the delusion that every decision is a one-way door, a point of no return. But in life, very few things are truly irreversible. When you view a decision through the lens of your 80-year-old self, you realize that the discomfort of trying and potentially failing is a temporary price to pay for the permanent growth of having lived fully. Let's look at 3 scenarios that affect real people every single day to see how this works in practice. First, consider the career pivot. You have spent 5 years in marketing, but you want to learn coding or graphic design. You are terrified of losing your current salary or status. Project to 80. Will you regret staying in a job you hate for 40 years for the sake of a slightly higher salary? Or will you regret trying to switch fields, even if it is rocky for the first 2 years? Usually, the regret of stagnation is far, far heavier than the regret of a failed career transition. You are choosing between the pain of discipline and the pain of regret. Discipline weighs ounces. Regret weighs tons. Second, consider the social risk. You want to ask someone out, or you want to launch a creative project online, but you are paralyzed by the fear of judgment. At 80, will you remember that one time someone laughed at your post? Or will you regret that you never spoke your truth or shared your art? The embarrassment is temporary. The silence is permanent. Third, consider the comfort trap. You are thinking of moving to a new country or traveling alone, but it feels risky. Look at the 80-year-old version of you. They don't care about the safety of their current neighborhood. They care about the experiences they collected. Bezos often speaks about the concept of day one versus day two. Day two is the end. It is complacency. It is doing things just because that is how we have always done them. The regret minimization framework is the ultimate tool to keep your life in day one. When you use this framework, you stop seeking safety and start seeking vitality. If you are constantly asking, will I regret not doing this? You become someone who takes calculated, intelligent risks. You become someone who prioritizes growth over comfort. The world is built by people who were willing to be uncomfortable today to avoid being regretful tomorrow. Notice I said calculated risks. The framework is not about being reckless. It is not about quitting your job on a whim without a plan. It is about being honest with yourself. It forces you to look past the immediate social anxiety and calculate the long-term emotional cost of inaction. You might be thinking, but what if I actually fail? That is the beauty of the framework. It doesn't promise success. It promises peace of mind. It separates your self-worth from the outcome of the action. Bezos didn't know Amazon would become the giant it is today. In 1994, it was just a guy in a garage with a low-tech website. But he knew with 100% certainty that he would be proud of the attempt. Life is not a dress rehearsal. You don't get to redo the years you spent playing it safe because you're afraid of what people might think. When you are staring at that decision, the one that keeps you up at night, the one you keep pushing to the back of your mind, don't ask, can I win? That is the wrong question. Ask, will I regret not playing? Take the leap. Your 80-year-old self is waiting for you to make them proud. Thank you for watching. If this framework shifted your perspective, let me know in the comments. What is one thing you are going to commit to doing today? Don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives.